provided by our bloggers or authors are of their opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, municipality, individual, or anyone or anything.
He's a surgeon. He's a 100-ton boat captain. He's a lieutenant on Seaside Heights Beach Patrol in New Jersey. He's a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. He's Dr. Michael Kachmar. Need answers to your medical questions? We have them. Listen in to hear latest on medical topics related to all that and more.
You got to hit me, Jeremy. It didn't come through. Yeah, we'll fix that. Yeah. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Michael Kachmar. Welcome to our show, Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Kachmar. Sorry for the technical stuff. We just downloaded a whole bunch of new updates and it just screwed our whole, we got to go back now. It's like terrible. I hate doing it. Every time you do an update, it's like,
all those little fine tunings you do in the programming, they all go away back to default.
Right. Yeah. If anybody does this out there, we make it look easy, I guess, but there's so much stuff in the background. Right, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, look at our freaking studio here. We got 9 million wires, and but the thing is, it works. But it takes a lot, and we use very sophisticated programs. We have a Mini Mac, we have Ecom, we have Restream, and Buzzsprout. Anyway, they're all good programs, the Mac, they're updating everything all the time. Excuse me, Jeremy. And we're live, we're live. So anyway, I'm Dr. Michael Kachmar. I'm a board-certified reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon living in Toms River, New Jersey. Today's date is Friday. What's today? Today's November the 4th, year of our Lord, 2022.
That's right.
And so I'm a board-certified reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon. I'm on staff at multiple hospitals. I do foot, ankle, lower leg surgery, all kinds of stuff. And if you want to get a hold of me, there's our webpage, JerseyShoreFootandLegCenter.com. Great place to go for a lot of information. And if you want to send us an email and comment on the show or ask questions, it's drkachmar@icloud.com. That's drkachmar@icloud.com. So we're on Facebook. We're on also Rumble, YouTube, also Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Everywhere you can find
Twitter,
a
Twitch.
podcast, you're going to find us.
Right, we're all over the place.
I want to just say real quick.
And this is Jeremy, by the way. Jeremy's going to say,
hey, everybody.
So Jeremy's the sidekick.
I just want to say how important it is for you guys to share our shows. It gets other people aware of the topics we talk about and stuff, like-minded people and
Jeremy will give you $50 for every person that you support.
Yes, right out of my pocket, and but
it'll be monopoly money.
Yeah.
Be fake money.
And now that we've said that, I just want to draw attention to that disclaimer at the front of the.
Jeremy, I won the lottery yesterday.
Get out of town.
I swear to God,
really?
I won the lottery. I did. I'm not lying.
All right.
I won it. You know how much I won?
How much?
$2.
Oh,
I won it though.
you did.
I won
$2 richer.
Hey, well, I spent about $30 to win $2. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got to be in it to win it, buddy.
I think they give I think they throw that out. I think they throw that out like every 10th person.
Right.
So they just feel bad. It's like a sucker play.
Yeah.
So I think he got like as much chance of winning the lottery as. Getting killed by a bear at the same time getting hit by lightning, sinking on the Titanic, and being the walking on Mars, be the first person to walk on Mars.
Right.
And so that's your odds. I don't know where you want to go with that one, but anyway, so we got a couple things. So we're medical, political stuff with medicine.
Sure.
So I want to talk about this intersects in medicine and politics. So this is an article. You want to throw my iPad. So this is an article out of The Atlantic. The Atlantic is actually, very well written periodical. This is, for the leftist elite. This is what they read. This is their bread and butter. And and so they have here an article. I love the picture here. It says, "Let's declare a pandemic amnesty."
Right.
Let's go. Put me back. Get me back on there. Yeah, sure. Let's look at our whiteboard because we have a whiteboard here. The Atlantic, it says in my whiteboard here, let's declare a pandemic amnesty. And I write down, no. no, and not like when they say about drugs. Remember, we said just say no to drugs.
Say no to drugs.
They say just no, KNOW.
Right.
Which is
KNOW. Oh,
just no.
So annoying.
I know it is.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means. But anyway, let's go. So go back to my iPad. Yeah. So what this is great. Let's focus on the future and fix the problems we still need to solve. This is by Emily Oster. So so let me just premise this. What they're saying is, let's kumbaya. We all made mistakes. Sure. Let's move on. Well, let's just go. Yeah. So here's a little bit in the beginning. In April, I'm going to read something here. In April 2020, with nothing else to do, my family took an enormous number of hikes. We all wore cloth masks that I had made myself. We had a family hand signal, which the person in front would use if someone was approaching on the trail and we needed to put our mask on. Once, when another child got too close to my 4-year-old son on the bridge, he yelled at her, social distancing. These precautions were totally misguided. This is what this author's saying now. In April 2020, no one got the coronavirus from passing someone else hiking. Outdoor transmission was vanishingly rare. Other cloth masks made out of old bananas wouldn't have done anything anyway, but the thing is, we didn't know. Now, just stop there for a second, okay? Right. Let's just analyze that. There's a lot of stuff here. First of all, this is out of the Atlantic. I'm quoting. This is not, I was there. You were there. Mm-hmm. I watched Rachel Maddow sit and say, you get the vaccine, it's
You're
done.
Not going to get...
Right. Yeah. Anyway, I know this is, I might get thrown off YouTube for this, but the point is, we're just talking, this is an article in Atlantic. And this is what they're saying. We all got it wrong. Well, I mean, I don't think I got it wrong.
No.
Okay. So, but anyway, I'm just going to go down here. This is interesting part. So you can see what they're trying to do here is they're trying to hedge their bets. They know that a reckoning's coming.
Sure.
So obviously, some people intended to mislead and made wildly irresponsible claims. Okay. Remember when the public health community had to spend a lot of time and resources urging Americans, not to inject themselves with bleach and all that. So there was a lot of crazy stuff. And that's always been, okay. And so here it says people who got it. So this is the interesting where they're coming here. And I really recommend you read this article. It's a really good article. Somebody just came out with a rebuttal article, but it says the people who got it right for whatever reason may want to gloat. Those who got it wrong, for whatever reason, may feel defensive and retrenched into a position that doesn't accord with the facts. All this gloating defensiveness continues to gobble up a lot of social energy and to drive the culture wars, especially on the internet, which we are now. Right. These discussions are heated, unpleasant, and ultimately unproductive. In the face of such uncertainty, getting something right had a heftier element of luck. And similarly, getting something wrong wasn't a moral failing. Treating pandemic choices as a scorecard on which people racked up more points than others is preventing us from moving forward. Right. Okay. Here's the thing what gets me about this whole article is, what? I guess a lot of people who write these articles, either they're smart, but they think the American, probably a lot of people don't watch stuff, don't remember, and are not, and I'm here to say, no. Go back to me.
No, you're on.
Just me. There. So listen to what I'm going to tell you. And I want you to comment on this. So what they're saying is we should forgive everything because nobody really knew. Well, a lot of people knew a lot.
A lot of people knew.
Now, state of New Jersey.
You know what? When they knew, they told you not to talk about it, not to ask about it, not to do anything about it. Right. So those people who knew, they really knew because why else would we not be allowed to talk about it?
Why were we throttled? Listen.
And we're still not allowed to talk about it.
We're still not. We can't talk about, can't talk about January 6th. You can't talk about.
I mean, doesn't that make?
You can't talk about the election.
Yeah.
You can't talk about what else? You can't talk about.
Almost everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
What I'm pointing out again, I don't want to get off my tour. Here's what I say. It was not only what happened was the bigger picture is we had a national emergency and a medical emergency. And what happened? The executive branch, the President of the United States, the governors, which are a legislative branch, trashed, or not trashed, but sidestepped the Constitution because of the pandemic.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
took liberties.
And they took liberties.
Yeah.
And by law, martial law, not martial, but when you have an emergency, in fact, Biden right now, I think, still declared us in a medical emergency or state of emergency still with Corona. Mm-hmm. So that gives the executive branch powers. Yeah. They don't need the judicial. They don't need the legislative. Mm-hmm. So in New Jersey, what they do, one of the things they did, we talked about this, is they, through the health department, executive order, okay?
Yeah.
Told the hospitals and the nursing homes that when you had an elderly patient in the hospital with Corona, you had to send back to the nursing home. You remember all of that?
Yep.
We had thousands and thousands of people die in the nursing home.
Yes.
Now, at that time...
Without their families with them.
Now, that's another whole thing. But at that time, there was a ship out in New York, that big medical ship.
Yeah, that they never used.
And they took the Javits Center, and the military had that place wide open. They could have sent those people there. Mm-hmm. Why didn't they? I don't know.
Yeah.
Now...
And you're not allowed to ask either.
No, can't. Yeah. No. But here's the thing. Then what the governor of the state did the following year is spent $500 million of New Jersey taxpayer money to investigate why so many people died in the nursing homes. By the way, the people who were involved in that investigation were Barack Obama associates. Mm. So they bias. And what they came out with is saying that it was the nursing home's fault. Basically, they didn't have enough. They weren't trained enough. They didn't have enough staff. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
Nothing pointing back to the administrative state. Not to the executive branch. You understand? Yep. The other thing that I cannot give you amnesty on. So right there, listen. We knew better. I knew.
Yeah, we knew.
I said, you can't send these. Dr. Dersha and I were sitting there going, you can't send these people back. They're contagious. All right. What the thought was, what we were told? Well, listen, we got to keep the hospitals open because we could get overwhelmed. Mm. And these elderly, they're 90 years old. It's a matter of lesser of two evils, We want to save 1 million. We might have to kill, 100,000 may have to die. It's like a military thing. Yeah. Okay. And I understand that, but did we really need to do that? There was other alternatives, in my opinion. That's just I'm a pundit. Putin, what am I, a pundit? A pundit. Now, the next thing I think that I cannot forgive, I cannot give you a pass on. Mm. How many people died in the hospital, right? And their mother and father couldn't go in and see them, or the children couldn't go hold their hand,
hold the hands of their mom or dad in their last moments.
But they didn't give a shit about me. I went in the hospital and treated these patients.
Yeah,
I wore a mask, a shield, and I went and treated them. This is before the vaccines even came out. I had people. I wasn't taking care. I had people who. Patients I took care of got Corona while they were in the hospital. Had ankle fractures, whatever. You weren't allowed to go in there. You couldn't have a funeral.
No.
I mean, think about you talk about how many drug addiction overdoses.
The bodies were stacked up. They had to bring in refrigerating units just to keep them on ice, so we could eventually give them a funeral or a burial.
No.
I mean, it was a nightmare.
No.
This was like this was science fiction.
I'm not going to sit here
in real life.
Right? Why couldn't you have? Well, I can tell you. I remember towards the end. This was not that long ago. This was last fall. Mm-hmm. No, last spring. My friend's mom, she was dying. She had bad heart. She was like almost 90 years old, so she was on her way out anyway. Yeah. She got Corona. But she hardly could walk and breathe to begin with, right? She got Corona. She went in the hospital. She was actually pretty good. She was waving from the window. Mm. And then about an hour later, she had a heart attack. So I don't think they realized, But my point is, she didn't die of COVID, but nobody could go see her. They'd sit in the parking lot, talk on the phone, and she'd wave. There is no reason, in my opinion, for that.
Right.
You could have let those son and daughter go in there, wear a mask, wear a shield. And some of them actually were vaccinated. Right. Even the people who were vaccinated, you still weren't allowed to go in there. That's not right.
Yeah.
That's not right. And, so they want an amnesty. Are you gonna, let's just go back to what they're asking. This is the left. Listen, we all made mistakes.
Yeah, but the mistakes they made were so well thought out, right? When they were making them, all right? They were finding what worked and what didn't work, and they just, this is what we're doing anyway. And that's where...
Get the thing out of there, Jeremy, because I don't know if it's going to show up. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's where we get a little upset because these people died. They died alone. You have a family for a certain reason, don't you? I mean, they're with you through your life, and then sadly, when your life is coming to an end, you have all your loved ones around you, and you can go away off in peace.
Right.
Yeah.
You need closure.
That's really what we hope for.
Let's go back to let's go back to the videotape, as they say. Let's go back to you got to read. This is her last paragraph here. You got to read. This is great. So I'm reading this now. Right. The standard saying is that those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. Right. I like that.
Yeah.
But dwelling on the mistakes of history can lead to a repetitive doom loop as well. Yeah. No. See, that's just look at
the word there that pisses you off the most is dwelling. You can easily substitute like the rights and wrongs, looking for a justice for these people by just saying, well, you're dwelling on it.
No, how about the problem, right? How about I'm analyzing it?
Yeah.
I can tell you right now.
If you say dwelling, you're the problem still.
So this is how the left, their mind. I don't know what it is with them. Whether or not they
dwelling. There's intent
on the mistakes of history. First of all, there's mistakes. I'll change this by analyzing on the injustices of history.
Yep.
Is what can lead to good outcomes.
Right.
How about that, young lady? Whoever wrote this. It says,
if you've got to learn from history, if you let's remove that word dwelling again. You have to investigate to learn. That's the only way you're going to get knowledge.
Well, and you have to leave and you have to. You know what? If they let us have free speech, if they let the doctors not even do what they want to do, but let us say on the internet what we think about the medications, what we think about everything, and have an open discussion. Mm. You got a guy right now who's a Harvard grad, who's the medical director down in Florida. He came out with a huge paper, and they're criticizing him. The guy's like Harvard trained. I mean, there's a lot of doctors who, don't buy into what the government's narrative. But let me say, so she goes, let's acknowledge that we made complicated choices in the face of deep uncertainty, and then try to work together to build back and move forward. So they're asking. You could see they know what's coming.
Right.
They know what's coming. And what's coming is they're going to be held accountable. And, there's certain things that you could get away. Like, listen, but when you go out and kill 20 people.
Yeah, like you do.
Well, we're not going to, I'm sorry, we're not going to give you a walk.
Yeah. What, really? But there was like unprecedented times. I mean, you have to understand that.
Right. And so I'm in the midst of a, battle or whatever, right. And I cause atrocities, That's when the true character. See, I'm going to say to this young lady here, and she, very sure, very nice lady, whatever. When the shit hits the fan, when we were staring down the face of this pandemic, and I remember you couldn't go on the boardwalk, everybody was shit scared. I remember the AIDS virus, the AIDS epidemic. Yeah. I was a doctor at that time. Go put me back on.
Sure.
I treated patients. Mm. You had a death. If you got infected, you were dead.
Yeah.
All right. When this happened, a lot of doctors were scared. In the beginning, I was concerned. I didn't know how infectious it was. But it became clear after a while that, what the level of infection and who it affected. And unfortunately, it affected the older people. And that was dangerous because I'm if you don't know, I'm a little older.
Yeah, you are a bit. I've noticed.
Right. But you know what? A guy like Dr. Kadersha, who we could talk about him. The guy's in his 70s. He had a heart transplant. He couldn't
Looking good,
he
though,
couldn't
right now.
he couldn't get the vaccine. He couldn't. He treated patients the whole time. And I'm talking every day. People were like, "You're crazy." Then he finally got corona, like down the road. Yeah, he was sick. It beat up the shit out of him a little bit, but he never went to the hospital. I was talking to him. He's like, I feel like shit. I'm like, I came over and I went and got him chicken soup and everything, and I said, don't cough on me, So my point is that, and he was a Vietnam vet. He was worked in what do you call it? He was a medic. My point is, the people who were tough, who got character, we know how to deal with this. Yeah. We did deal with it. What this Atlantic is saying, you know what it is? Yeah, you guys overreacted.
Right.
You flipped out, and some people abused their power.
Yeah.
Some of the executives in the whole country, these governors, mayors, president, overstepped their bounds. They trashed the Constitution, and they did things that, under the auspice of emergency, directives.
Mm-hmm. And there was also medications that we knew could help, but you weren't allowed to talk about them. You weren't allowed to bring them up.
Right. But here, and here's the thing. What I think should be done, you talk about, let it, forgive. No. I want investigations.
Learn from what we've
done. I want investigations, and I want, good investigations with the Congress. And here's what I want. I want states, say like New Jersey, maybe we should throttle down the power of the executive, whoever it is, Republican, Democrat, with regard to what he could do or she could do when there's a state of emergency.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You talk about democracy, which is another, they use this word. But when you can't become a dictator because there's a virus going around.
Yeah.
You cannot become judge, jury, and executioner.
Well, during the elections, we didn't even think about if the shit hit the fan and something like this would happen, that the people that we elected into office would be the ones making all the decisions, and would we have trusted them to do such things, I worry about all that. In the early days, before we even had the idea of a vaccine, and they were putting everybody on, what were they putting them on, ventilators, was it? Or,
Yeah.
Would that have exasperated what they were going through to the point where that's why so many of them that went on the ventilators died?
Listen, you can't, listen.
My point is nobody asks the questions.
No.
Nobody asked anything.
No. The bottom line is you don't have to be specific. We weren't allowed to ask questions. First of all, what they did is one thing. They did things, they took people from the nursing home, from the hospital, put them in the nursing home. They didn't allow people to go into the hospital with their loved ones. There was all kinds of things. We understand that. But my point is that not only did they do that, they abused their power, but then, like you said, you were not allowed to comment about it. Mm-hmm. So what they did is they throttled your First Amendment. They went after the First Amendment, assembly, going to church, and they weren't consistent. I mean, we saw Pelosi getting her hair done, and we saw these politicians shutting down their states but going to Florida, with no mask on.
We saw politicians getting injections for what was supposed to be doled out to the people, and was, with nothing in the syringes.
Well, we don't know that. Don't go down. You're going to get me thrown off.
That.
I know, but don't see. See, that's what you don't want to say here. No, I'll take that back. You're going to get me thrown off for that.
We have a disclaimer.
No, we don't. That's not going to, YouTube don't care. Don't go down it. No. I take that back. You're going to fire him.
Well, my point in
just
saying,
keep it general.
My point in saying all this is this is the point of an investigation, is to dive down and find all these little things that we're not allowed to talk about even now.
Right.
And find out what the hell was really going on.
Right. But the thing is, I brought this article that you can see the left is squirming now. They're concerned. They're trying to hedge their bets. And listen, let's just, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. But no, Fauci, the Rachel Maddow, they all going to need to, be held accountable for what they said. People on the right too. Yeah, people, there's people on both sides. I agree with that. I agree with her, but I don't agree with her. I agree with that. There's been, things said on both sides. But I can tell you right now, it's more complicated than that. This is like kumbaya. It wasn't just people. It was the government. It was the government and the executive branches who took over and did, in my opinion, abused the power in a lot of different areas.
And you think that's not going to get you kicked off?
No, well, that's true. So, well, yeah, but that's not his only thing. So let's go. I want to talk about another thing here. So this one here, don't put it up yet. I got to pull it up. So, so here, let's go to this one here. This is a great one. I love this. Now, this is out of, this was Fox News, published October 26th. And this was by London, let me see, the name is MION, Fox News. So it says here, New Jersey School Board's lawyer says parents cannot dictate what their children are taught. So the comments were made following parents' criticism of a New Jersey school district's transgender policy. Okay, I'm not even getting into the transgender thing. I just want to make a point again. So let me just see here. So this is what.
So you want to talk about a transgender policy, but you don't want to get into transgenderism?
No. I want to talk about what he's saying here because that's another whole issue you could talk about.
Oh,
the lawyer, but the point here is what he's saying about everything. A lawyer for the school board in New Jersey gave his interpretation of a law at recent board meeting in which he said parents do not have a right to decide the curriculum schools teach to their children. You understand? That's a broad brush. Anything in a curriculum, what they teach. Yeah. Okay? So this is a Lawrence Township Board of Education meeting on October 19th. Lawyer John said that rights of parents is not to dictate what their children are taught. It is to determine where they attend. No, let me repeat that.
That's wrong. And I know, and I can clearly say why it's wrong. Because there are precedents. When I was a kid, you had to get a parental signing to see if you could even find out about sex education.
Right.
So why is that not now?
Right. Well, listen, this is one board and this is one lawyer. So don't, in public schools, this is what he's saying. We have curriculum that is aligned with New Jersey state learning. Oh, hang on. Yeah. What happened there? Hang on. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
So we go over here. It says here, this is what he says. He says, in public schools, we have curriculum that is aligned with New Jersey state learning standards. Okay? And it says here, I'm on the internet now. I should have shut that off. But please know, if your student attends these awesome schools, they're going to be instructed in this curriculum, which is consistent with state learning standards, he continued. That's not binding. If you choose to have your child attend elsewhere, that's your right. That's your right as a parent. So what he's saying is a little bit, and now you're saying, well, you could opt out. He's saying, no, you can't opt out of the curriculum that's in that school. You could go to another school.
I was saying that you need to be opt-in. That's how it should be.
Well, what he's saying, they're taking it to another level and say, no, you can't opt in. You can't. What you can do is go to another school or homeschool them. But you know what I say? Okay, then you know what the next logical thing there? Then let's have the money follow the student. I'm fine with that. Teach what you want to teach to stay in New Jersey. But you know what? If I want to take my kid out of that school, whatever it is, $13,000, I want to put that to a private school where I could decide on what he's taught or she's taught. How about that? You understand that?
But this is the problem with things like this. It's just a stepping stone away. So you say, okay, well, you have the right to take your child to any school you want.
Yeah, you get me out of this.
Yeah, and any any state. But that's almost like saying, well, you're black, but you can ride the buses with the white people, but you have to sit up front. When you start putting provisos in like that.
Right. That's a good point. There's a good point. Yeah, you could ride the bus.
Freedoms.
You could ride the bus, but if you don't like, we're going to make you sit in the back. Here's the thing. I don't want to get into the transgender thing because that's a hot, I didn't, I'm not prepared for it today. But that's not the issue here, what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about the more fundamental, I always say the bigger picture. there's a lot of people out there who believe, and they're good people, that the schools, the federal government, the state of New Jersey, whatever the state, should have the absolute say on what your children are taught. There's no sovereignty there, Jeremy. Remember we talked about sovereignty?
Yeah,
That's
sure.
You talk about against democracy. They say that democracy is in jeopardy. Yes, that lawyer is putting democracy in potential jeopardy because you're taking rights away from the parents that the founding fathers gave.
Now, you want to talk about a clear and present danger to our democracy? This is it, folks.
Right
here.
And when you talk this word democracy, that's all bullshit.
Yeah,
how do you
bullshit.
say?
We're a republic.
Well, it doesn't matter. I understand. They're making that. It's the people's rights. If you want to use democracy and say it's people's rights, okay. You just say I'm a father, mother. I have no right. What you do is you have the right. You go to another school. Well, then give me the money. Or let me do that. Let's have vouchers. So you can't have it both ways. So here's where the left is.
Why can you add? Why do you have to go through all the trouble to add new things taught, new classes, and all of that, and you have no say over it, without saying, well, we can also add classes where your kids don't have to. And then sign the permission slips.
No, they don't want that. It's too complicated. See, here's the thing.
Too complicated.
No.
They're already adding
Well,
something.
you're trying. Yeah, but here's the thing, though. You're trying to compromise, which is a good idea. They don't want to compromise. They're telling you.
That's my point.
No, they don't. You do not have the right.
Nope.
And this is antithetic. This is not, in my opinion, constitutional. You're not sovereign anymore. And this is why you got to vote these guys out, people. You got 3-4 days. Vote these people out. Yeah. Who's the guy running? What's his name? Who Schneider always talks about? The one. No. He's the local representative. He's a Republican, and you have to change these politicians and get them out. Yeah. And because these are the people who are making the laws. The state of New Jersey, the Department of Education. This is where it's coming from, and. Now, whether or not this...
I mean, folks, we're talking about voting at this point, but, we... I've just lost my train of thought.
Well, let me make a point here, Jeremy. I think that you got to remember, let's put things in perspective. This is one lawyer, this is one school board, and it may not reflect all of the schools and all of the lawyers, because you put 5 lawyers in the room, just like 5 doctors, you get 5 different diagnoses, you get 5 different interpretation of law. But when anybody, lawyer, doctor, Indian chief, gasoline attendant, mechanic, airline pilot, starts telling me that as a parent, the government has sovereignty, has the deciding factor on what that kid's taught. Yeah. Okay. I say no. And you say, well, you're not an expert, Kachmar. No.
Right.
Okay. That's not how. Now, there's a lot of people who disagree with me. They think, no. They want a nanny state. To me, that's what you got. That's what you have in a lot of countries. And again, we keep on saying they want the Chinese model. What's the Chinese model? No freedom of speech. This is where it's going. You got these democratic socialists. You got socialism. Next thing you go to communism. You'll have what you have, and you could have capitalism.
You have the only right you have is the right to no rights at all.
Right. You have right. Yeah. You get a bowl of soup, and a gray suit, and you could live in a little apartment. No freedom of speech. No freedom from. No freedom of religion. No freedom of speech. No freedom from fear, because that's how they have to do you. Yeah. They got to give you fear, and then what you'll do
didn't we already flee from one country so we can have these freedoms?
Well, we fought World War II over that.
Yeah, but we fled from Europe to have these freedoms.
Yes,
and now we have people on the left trying to take them away again.
Well, I just think it's. I just wanted to bring this thing here because the reason why it has to do with medicine is this was brought up with this transgender thing. We have a whole show on that. And I just want to touch a little bit on that. We are Christians here. We believe in every human being, no matter what you're born as and what you are. You have the right for equal opportunity. Yeah. Okay? We don't believe in this equal outcomes, which is equity. We believe in equal opportunity. That's what the founding fathers believed in. That's what Lincoln believed in. That's what a lot of people believe in. Now, it's getting mushed-moshed. It's getting confused. But we believe that. But also, we always say when it starts to hurt other people, your rights, your agenda have to be considered and maybe modified. So what do I mean by that? Well, you're a pedophile, right? We can't allow you to do what you want to do. We draw lines on that.
No, but pedophiles are getting more rights now.
Well, but my point is, though, if you go into the schools, and I understand there's bullying, there's all of that. I went to school, and it's terrible, and we have laws for that. And it should, but if there's a child who has, difficulty with transgender, the parents need to be involved. The school should be the secondary. They should be a support group, but as soon as it's identified, they should call the parents. The parents should get involved, and then school resources, psychology, and then whatever. And after that, the argument. My thing is, you cannot take the parents out of this. The parents are supreme in my mind. The people are supreme. Not the state of New Jersey, not the federal government.
Yeah, but it's so quickly becoming something that is not in your mind.
Now, I have friends
in their mind, and that's what matters.
I have friends on the other side, and they'll say, Mike, these people, the parents are terrible. That inner city, we got to take charge. Okay, hey, but that's an exception to the rule. The rule should be parents are sovereign. Parents have the right, first and foremost, to make a decision on that child. Once they're 18 or 21, whatever you pick, then it could be whatever. Okay, but there's a reason why we don't let children do what they want to do. And even talking about capital crimes. They just had that. Right. The Cruz, he got their life imprisonment, and I tell people, if you're upset, people wanted him to have be executed, and I'm this way. I'm not a real fan of the death penalty, but I understand if parents want that. But here's the interesting thing. These are kids. There's a great movie I tell you about. It's called, it's a 1960, this Young Savages is called, Young Savages. Oh. And it's these young kids. They're 14, 15, 16, they maybe 6, real young, they kill somebody. And it's all about, this whole trial. But it's interesting when you talk about children. We protect children. We deal with children at a different level. Right. And so I think that in this situation, we talk about medicine and transgender. I think you have to be very careful where you step here. I think the parents should be involved from the very second the school identifies a problem.
Yeah. I'd like to know how they stopped being in charge of their kids and what they do and what they learn.
Well,
how did that happen? Where was the
good intentions. Listen, Jeremy, a lot of these people are sweet, good people. See, don't get me wrong. I'm talking about the people who enact this. See, they put things out there, and like some of them might have bad intentions. Maybe they're dastardly. They want communism. Listen, there's a lot of people in this country want social communism. They think it's a nice idea, especially the young people. They have no idea. They don't remember. They don't read about Hitler. They don't read about Stalin.
There are people out there that don't even know if Hitler was in World War II or World War I or was he in the Civil War. I mean, it's nuts.
Right. They don't, and they think that it'll never happen in this country. Never, ever. Yeah. All right. So anyway, I think the point here is that this is going to be, in this state, and you want to talk about what's at democracy? Yes, democracy is at risk this election, and it's it's this kind of stuff. Yeah. Because if you continue to vote for these Democrats, you're not going to have a say in your children's. Right now, this lawyer's saying what they're.
This is the thing we're talking about voting, right? And if Trump were in right now, right? Are we talking about any of these problems?
No.
And it's only because of the existing government that's in play. The far left has control everywhere, and this is why we're talking about how important it is for our right-wing brothers and sisters to get out there and vote ourselves back into some control.
Yes,
where freedom of speech becomes a thing. The Constitution starts to mean something again.
Right.
And freedoms for the parents and what they determine is right or wrong for their kids is back into play. It's only because of the Democrats that are running things right now that we have most of this mess to begin with.
There's Republicans too that are
I said some.
Because,
Okay. There are bad Republicans as well. I'm not saying they're in. I don't even think I'm a Republican. I'm just far right. All right. But I'm not a Republican because I have my own mind of things.
Right.
Right. But you put the right in charge we're not talking about this stuff anymore. You put the left in charge. This is our whole life now, and it's possibly our future.
Right. Well, you make a good point there. But let me ask you this, Jeremy. What do you think about like your kid? Did you ever have to sign out on something? Like when he was in, we were raising him Catholic because, Maggie was a Catholic to start with and all of that. Did you have to sign off on, say, okay, can't be taught?
They wanted us to sign off on if the priest could talk to him about priests touching kids and all this other shit, and we were like, no, you shouldn't be talking about my son. My son.
Oh, they wanted to talk about that.
The preacher wanted to have him have moments with special alone time with the preacher.
But at least they asked you.
Yes, they did.
See, I don't.
They did. And we pulled him
I'm cool
out
with
because
that.
of it.
See, I have no problems. They want to teach, whatever.
Yeah.
That's not the point here. And that's why I want to make it plain to people.
But that's when you have control over your kid, you can make these decisions what you feel is best for them. And
here's the thing: it's not that we don't want our kids taught about tolerance. It's not that we want our kids not taught about transgender people and how to be, accommodating to them and help them, flourish.
Or if you think your kid might be a transgender, we're not saying that you can't do anything or but it should be a private thing. It should be in the control of the parents.
Well, there's your point. And that's what we're saying. It's the parents, not the government, should make the decision on the modification or not just the schooling, the teaching of that child. And for that matter, what they're taught all the way around the board. Because, I to me, if you're going to do that, then you should, if you want to, have a democracy here, have a democratic society where everybody has equal opportunity, right? Then you're going to let us take the money out of there and have school vouchers. And somebody's going to open up a school, private school, and they're going to teach the kids what the parents want, and they'll pay the paycheck, and maybe they'll add, some bucks. All right, I got to give you one more, and this is another one. Now, this is why I'm saying, Jeremy, all of this, a lot of people in this country are to the left, and this is one article here, and I'm going to make a prediction. We talk about this. You talk about Trump is going to run. Mm-hmm. I had so many people, my friends, like, he's never going to run. He's done. He's going to run. And you know who he's going to run against? My prediction?
What?
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton.
Okay, and you're going to have a clear distinction now. And I think this is great. You're going to be able to pick an individual. Forget about his character and her character. They're both, you can say they're both. I think they're equally, character flawed. Okay?
We're looking at skill sets here. Whose skill set is more needed?
Let me tell you something. Both of them could run the country. Right. No doubt about it.
No doubt about it.
Okay? But she's socialist going towards, a communist flair. Yes. I've seen it when she's running, okay?
Social communism.
If she gets in, they'll get rid of the filibuster. They'll pack the court. The three branches of government, it will deteriorate. And I think what will happen is that the states will be pitted against each other, okay? So now, or you're going to have the other side of the coin, where you're going to have Trump, which is, he's going to bolster up the constitutional republic that we have. All right? Yeah. Free speech, and I'll make another point about free speech. Free speech is modified by time, place, and manner, not content. So these people who talk about Twitter, all the shit that's on there, listen, if you don't like it, then get off of it.
Right.
Even before, the people who are getting off for it now, who are pissed off with Elon Musk, right?
Oh, yeah.
And open up, say they might bring, Trump on, were the same people who enjoyed that platform when they were deplatforming other Americans.
Right.
In fact, they deplatformed the President of the United States. Yeah. Do they understand how significant that is? Yeah. You can't.
Well, yesterday I was reading.
He's not you deplatformed a President of the United States.
Yeah, I know.
That's going to go down in history as one of the most despicable things in ever happen, because that's so disingenuous and insulting. But my point is that you don't want to get free speech. Unfortunately, Free speech is stuff that I don't like. Now, one thing about Trump I didn't like. He was very against burning the flag. I got the flag behind me. I think it's reprehensible. I think it's terrible you burn the flag, but I think you need to have the right to burn the American flag as a level of protest. Yeah. Okay, you can't burn your draft card though. But that's I'm making a joke there. My point is that you talk about democracy. During the pandemic, they crushed our ability to communicate. Right now, what I say here, I have to be very careful what I say.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying. No, anybody for that matter. And people are getting, for all kinds of things. So, and this ain't, listen, these people don't give a shit what I'm saying. They're going to keep on going. But maybe, like you said, we'll get through some of the more middle of the road people, right. Our Democratic friends who are not to the left, not Antifa, but they're liberals. And we need both. What I think that article, The Atlantic, I agree with her. What we need to do is shed the people from the far left and the far right and try to get the people in the middle back together. But you got it. But there needs to be, I don't want revenge. I want justice.
You need tolerance.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. We need to have investigations. Yeah. And I'm talking about good investigations.
Well, I was reading an article.
Bipartisan, and get to the bottom of everything. Clear the air. And then that's how it's going to happen. But yeah, what were you going to say, Jeremy?
No, I was reading an article yesterday, and it showed all of these Twitters from celebrities. Most of them I didn't even know. It was their final goodbye Twitter because Elon Musk took over.
Yeah, they could go together.
But
they're not going to leave.
Yeah, this isn't.
They're not going to leave.
No, they said this isn't for me anymore. You can keep this, and in quotes, so-called free speech. It's not for me. And then that was their
good.
Yeah, go.
Good. Don't let the door hit in your ass. Go move down. Go move to what do you call it? China. I'm glad with that. Good. Get them all. I don't give a shit.
Yes.
The thing with all of that is first of all, a lot of these people, you look at their background, where they're coming from. Their lives are banged up anyway. So let's talk about this. Now, listen, college students for the past, everybody's liberal. Most college students are liberal. You get that way. Yeah. They go in there. They got the shirts. Free the. Don't kill the seals. All of that stuff.
Yeah. Hug a tree.
Yeah, and then when you get a job and you start paying taxes, you go from a
screw
liberal.
The seals.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, then you become a staunch Republican.
Yeah.
But here's the interesting thing. So this is a column here. This is out of the Washington Examiner. Okay, and this was dated November 3rd, 2022. So it says college students turn more liberal. Okay, speech death penalty. Just what we're talking about. So listen to this. This is interesting. Calls for diversity on campus and in Main Street businesses and banning hate speech, even that protected by the First Amendment, are no longer issues to fight over for college students. Now it's the reason for the electric chair. So the article goes on here. It says, in a remarkable shift showing how students, many lining up for President Joe Biden's loan forgiveness plan, have turned left since the 2020 election, a new Yale study suggests that Americans' best and brightest are giving up on key constitutional freedoms and even embracing socialism. Just so you know, Karl Marx, when they talked about socialism, that was a stepping stone to communism. Understand?
Right.
Okay? And basically, so just to understand socialism, communism, you own nothing. The government owns everything. They control everything, and they dole it out. If that's what you want, I could tell you what we're going towards. Let me make another point.
Even drug dealers give you a little taste.
Yeah.
Right?
So here's what you're going to get.
Give you a little taste first.
Here's what they're... See, and here's what I'm telling you. They're dangling in front of you this. Give up your free speech... Give up your freedom of religion, because most of these kids don't believe in God. A lot of them don't. Give up your arms. Give up your freedom of fear. And for that, what you're going to get, right, is freedom from want. But they ain't telling you how good that's going to be. It ain't going to be a mansion, on the ocean in New Jersey. Yeah. Go watch Dr. Zhivago, right? When the Russian revolutions, the Bolsheviks took over. What they did, Dr. Zhivago went back to his house. He had a big mansion. There was 10 families living in there. They go, Dr. Zhivago, how did you live here by yourself? Right? I mean, you're talking about a very dangerous scenario here. They want to give up their rights that so many people died for. Jeremy, 400,000 men and women are laying in what do you call it? Arlington Cemetery. So let's go over here. So where am I here? I lost the page here. Let me see.
You were right. You move down.
Electric chair. Where you had
right here. That's where we were.
Okay, so in a William F. Buckley Jr. program at Yale University, people don't even know who Buckley is. They should watch his debates. He was a staunch conservative. Survey conducted by McLaughlin Associates and provided to what is that? Big majorities want companies to require employees to declare
secrets.
Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry, everybody. This thing is jumping all over the place. In a William F. Buckley Jr. program at Yale University, national student survey conducted by McLaughlin Associates and provided to secrets, big majorities want companies to require employees to declare support for workplace diversity just to get a job. Now, let's talk about diversity again. We're talking about that. We talk about equality of opportunity. That's what we believe in. They want equality of outcomes, which is called diversity. You understand what they're looking for? When they use that word diversity, you want to be an airline pilot, you got one eye, you're stupid as the day is long, well, we're going to give you the opportunity.
Good.
Okay, we're going to lower the standard.
It has been my dream.
All right, and, it has kicks back to affirmative action, but, and when it comes to speech, nearly half believe the death penalty is okay to shoot down hate speech. Now, first of all, let me just see what this is interesting. And when it comes to speech, nearly half believe the death penalty is okay to shoot down hate speech. Okay, first of all, who is going to decide what is hate speech?
That's what I was just thinking. Now,
think about how profound that is.
Is this hate speech from the right, and what the right determines to be hate, or what? See, that's the problem, and it's whoever's in charge determines what you should hate.
Right.
Yeah.
Now look over here. This is interesting. Almost half, 48%, agree that violence in response to offensive speech is not a new phenomenon, and some speech can be so offensive in certain cases that it merits such harsh punishment like death penalty. Mm-hmm. They are right and wrong. They are right that it's not a new phenomenon. You know where you got killed for speech?
What?
Nazi Germany. You know where else? Stalin in Russia. If you opened your mouth, you got killed. You know where? And how many? 20 million. Yeah. Hitler, millions.
Do you want to know what?
Mao in China, Pol Pot in the killing fields of Cambodia.
Yeah. Okay, you know what George Carlin called this?
What's that?
The pussification of America.
Well, this is
right.
Yeah. This is profound stuff here. While the results might please left-leaning college professors, is stirring concerns for those on the right who already feel that the left is turning every position it has into a hate crime, from abortion to immigration.
Yeah.
College students' disillusionment with free speech is growing at an alarming pace. Buckley Program founder, director Lauren Noble told us. And more students are intimidated from speaking freely, and more students are willing to intimidate others from speaking freely than at the time history in a survey. So American undergraduate students' body seems to be abandoning the very ideas that make America the great country it is today. And I was just watching something. They asked people, do you think this is a great country? And they're like, no.
Not right now, no.
Tell me where else you have such diversity of people and we get along as good as we do. Okay? Is there problems? Absolutely. Is there prejudice? Absolutely. Is there, but it's getting better and better and better.
We're no longer the only country that has such diversities anymore.
But we're the only country that has does as well as we do. The poor here is richer than many rich in a lot of countries.
Yeah. Okay.
Listen, we're fighting, but you have to bring this stuff up. Now, listen, if you had to choose, listen to this. This is a question. If you had to choose, which economic system would you prefer to live under? Capitalism or socialism?
What's the other? What's the third? Yeah.
Unsure.
Unsure.
Well, you know, see, here's the thing, though. That's a question that's kind of like a little funny because China is a capitalist. You know, they have a capitalist, but it's an authoritarian. You know, that's not really socialism. Really, communism. It should say capitalism and communism. Yeah. And I don't like that question because it's the state takes over everything. You don't make whatever you make, you don't keep. Yeah. You know, and here's some examples. 67% demand professors and companies declare a commitment to diversity. 48 are okay with death penalty to punish those accused of hate speech. So
to punish?
Yes, accused of hate speech.
Death penalty to punish those accused of hate speech.
Yeah.
They want to put people to death just by what they've said.
Yes.
Holy shit.
It's nothing new. Mao has done it. I just told you that woman, she wrote, she looked.
Yeah, Mao has done it. But look.
No.
She just said here, hang on.
No.
Banning the very ideals. Hold on, go back up.
Okay.
The very ideals that made America the great country it is today. Then you scroll down, then you start talking about words and a death penalty for them. Holy crow.
Right. If you so what I'm saying, yeah, and this is why I'm telling you.
But then we're living in a world where words are violence, aren't we?
Well, here
if words are violence, then you punish violence with death.
Right.
Okay, great.
50% agree that colleges can bar some issues from being discussed. 33% prefer socialism, 30% capitalism, 30% unsure. What's more, many students are already feeling the pressure to cave into the expanding liberal wave sweeping over college campuses. Survey said that more students than ever feel too intimidated to challenge the positions of the fellow students. So, and you could keep on going here. You could read the Examiner. Put me back on the screen. I'm going to make some comments about this. So here's the deal. And this is something that I've been talking about. You got to one of the problems here is these kids, when you talk about where this country's going, everybody's like, oh, it's the politicians, it's Biden, it's, no, it's them, but it's people in this country. Mm-hmm. And people are sovereign. I mean, they want to vote. They're going towards a socialist, communist model. Now, let me make a point. If you look before the United States, before 1776, and there was no United States. There was no sovereignty. Most of the places, it was either a monarchy, a king, right? I mean, and you can even go back further. You had Genghis Khan. You had, Alexander the Great. Basically, you had big armies. It was a rough world. You had no say. Either if you were born rich, you were lucky, but the corruption was bad. And basically, you had, if you had the army, the violence, you could take care of it. Yeah. Hitler went after, one single party, and he was brutal. He just killed everybody. They got rid of the rights. You had no rights. You had no rights. You have the rights in Soviet Union. They murdered millions and millions, and it started just like this. You could go back and look at history when Stalin and Hitler first got in power. They were talking the same thing. We got hate speech, no good.
Yeah. See, this is, and
you see what I'm saying?
I know I keep saying this.
We're going down that road
over and over again. Where I've told you what when truth was truth, America was great. Okay, but hate is an opinion. All right, and that's where we are now. If they want people to die from hate speech is an opinion. If your opinion is saying that what I've said is hateful, it's not hateful for me.
Well, here's the thing.
Here's the thing. It's an opinion, and that's why truth is opinion now.
If you look
Unreal.
If you look at Mao, they killed about 60 million people, and that was not that long ago. It was in the 50s, the 30s, 40s, 50s, and in China, who knows how many people get killed right now? You have no right. So what I think you have to understand here is a couple things. One is, it's not just the politicians that are pushing the agenda. There's a lot of people who buy into this. I read it the politicians, but mostly the people in Hollywood and your actors and actresses. They're getting off Twitter, right? But why? because they're saying that their free speech, or they don't like what's going to happen.
They don't want to hear your free speech.
Right.
That's why they're getting off. Yeah.
Because here's the thing. When the other side was being throttled, they didn't say shit. What if, you talk about hate speech. What about when Trump won? Remember before the inauguration?
When everybody was denying that election?
No, right. And remember when they were in front, I'm talking about 2016.
Yeah.
Remember they had him, they were all in front of the, out there in the White House, and what was her name? Ashley Judge. She says, Ashley Judd. Yeah. I want to burn down, the Capitol. I want to burn down the White House. I mean, they were crazy. How many times did Adam Schiff say on TV, I have personal, guaranteed evidence that Trump colluded with the Russians? And I believed him. I'm like, okay, then let's get the bastard. But you know what? It turned out to be bullshit.
Bullshit. It was and who was saying that the most?
Right. But here's the
Hillary.
thing. So, but two things here. They have the right to say that. But also, if you slander somebody, there are laws against that.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at is this. You have to let people have their opinions. I didn't say, I thought it was bullshit that she was inflaming, violence. Chuck Schumer said something about.
So you consider what was said to be hate speech in some sort?
No, I think it's free speech. Because that's what I'm saying. It's free speech. I think that if you slander somebody, fine. It's time, place, and manner. But
you don't want her to die because of what she said.
Absolutely not. No. I think she has the right to say what she did. I think she's crazy. But you could be you could be criticized on the media. She should be able to be criticized, but hate. No, I would never.
About you and our side, it speaks volumes.
No, we never.
Because we don't want anybody dead. But the other side is saying, if you say something I don't like, you can go on the death chair or the electric chair.
Listen, if you say I'm a Christian, if you say you're an idiot, Christ is, a fiction or imagination, fine. I don't hate Biden. I never met the guy. Clinton, I don't hate anybody, and I don't want anything to happen. But my point is that beyond individuals, beyond me, beyond you, we have a very unique thing that the Founding Fathers put together here. Mm-hmm. They declared independence in 1776. It took them almost 10 years, to fine-tune it. Brilliant men, Hamilton, Jefferson, Adams, Washington, and many more, put their lives on the line and discussed and determined and tried to think every which way to put this country together to where the human being, the person, no matter, and I know, the beginning, black, white, but a human being has the right for, what do we say? Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and property. 14th Amendment says life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. 14th Amendment was enacted after the Civil War. Gave the voting right to blacks, gave the voting, made everybody equal underneath the law. This was in 1865, by the way. So, but we're a systemic country. Please. I'm so sick of that friggin' argument. So getting back to where, the First Amendment is the First Amendment because it's the most important amendment. When you say free speech and you start telling me what I can say and can't say, that's the end of it.
That's the end of it.
That's the end of it. Because now you're going to kill me because, first of all, you're deplatforming us. Yeah. You're criticizing us. Now these young kids in college, they want to kill. That's just terrible. Terrible. They have the right to say that. They have the right to think of it. But if that's what who's teaching them that? Let me ask you this.
That's what happens when you take education out of the hands of parents altogether.
Okay. Let me ask you something. Yeah. I would like to take that student who wants to kill people for free speech and take them on a trip to Arlington National Cemetery.
Yeah. I think it was like 46%.
400,000 soldiers died to protect your free speech.
Yeah.
And you want to throw it away.
Throw it away. Doesn't mean anything else.
I don't care. Because you don't like what somebody says. Yep. It irritates you, gets you upset.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody hits you,
if
somebody threatens you,
I don't even want to hear your hate speech.
Right. Now, and when here's the thing: when you talk about hate speech, I'm not. There's difference. Time, place, and manner. You can't threaten me. You can't say I'm gonna, Jeremy. I'm gonna go over there and shoot you in the head. That's not really protected speech. That's a threat.
That's a threat.
Okay, we're not talking about that. We're talking about I don't think the flag should be red. I think it should be, I mean, and whatever. I mean, it's. I think they should have.
I know, but see, when I see a statistic like that, I get upset because nobody says, well, that 46% clearly needs a psych eval.
No, they're just, listen, they're young kids. Listen, first of all, they're liberal, they're young kids.
If you can say, listen, Mike, hey, I get it. I get their kids, and I get all of that.
It's heavy duty.
I don't care how old you are. If you say that what you're talking about is something that I want to put you to death over, no, right. I'm sorry, buddy. You got to draw the line somewhere. Okay, we don't condemn death on anybody. We don't wish it. We don't want it. So why? So this entire show could be considered hate speech, and we can be condemned to death. That's what that's saying to me, and that's upsetting.
So go back here. I want to put here. So listen. So this is on your point, Jeremy, because you're pretty good sometimes. I got to give you a lot of credit.
No,
so can you put me in the box somewhere? Just put the arrow there. Yeah. Okay. Put me somewhere. That's you. There you go. I'll put me here. So so listen to this. College kids. This is again from the Washington Examiner. Mm-hmm. College kids are supposed to be the intellectual cream of the crop. Something is deeply wrong with our education systems for failing to open these minds. And something is also deeply wrong with the individual minds of those who reach the age of majority in a free country, but favor cult-like orthodoxy enforced upon pain of one's livelihood. You made a good point, Jeremy. Yeah. And all of this isn't enough to get into the intrinsic wrong-headedness of modern diversity, equity, and inclusion, contagion. Anywhere and everywhere, but particularly on college students' campuses, where the entire enterprise should be about helping students free themselves from their inherent identities in order to learn to think for themselves. It should be, what is that? To act...
anathema?
Yeah, to act as if radical or gender identity defines us more than character and ability. Let me make a point there. That's a good idea here. When you talk about going into tribalism, right? And this is where we're going. Yeah. They're sitting here. It's more important for racial and gender. It's more identities defines us more than character and abilities. And this is where the major difference is. I believe you believe in equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome, which is equity. And that's what they bought into. You'll never achieve that because, although we're equal under the law, I can't fly an F-15 jet for a lot of reasons. I can't throw a ball 95 miles an hour. But, so we're not all equal in that regard. But it says here, but we should be, like Martin Luther King said, character and ability. All right? I don't look at a black man, a black woman, a yellow, I look at their character. Okay? Did you know Donald Trump dated a black girl? Did you know Donald Trump, I read this, I was on that, just to diverse here for a minute, digress. He was giving loans out to a black businessman, and when they came time to pay the loan, he ripped him up. I was just watching on one podcast called Kingdom. Huh. Yeah. Anyway.
And here someone once said he was the Antichrist.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Because so again, though, even in the modern diversity movement, we're entirely benefit. It would be wrong to compel people, especially on campus, to adhere to it. Thomas Jefferson may now be defamed on most campuses for being a dead white male, but he was right for his time and forever to say that he had sworn upon the altar of God eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the minds of men. This is sworn upon the altar of God, eternal, right? Yeah. Hostility against every form of tyranny over the mind of men. Yeah. And Jefferson gender reference was intended to be inclusive, by the way. So
when this Constitution was written and all these amendments were put in place, the whole point of it was to defend these things, so they're never threatened. And we used to say to each other the importance of that, because if they were ever threatened, this is where we end up, is right where we are now.
Right.
Yeah.
So what you're talking about is violence. If you listen, I don't have.
Don't tread on me.
No,
I mean,
get rid of this here. Let me tell you something. If you look at, people say, the left is socialism. Well, when you talk about what they're talking about, their ideals are very in line with. Not Germany was the Democratic Social Workers Party. So these words, socialism, capitalism, communism. What you're talking about is what rights you give the human being. This country and the founding fathers were all about the person has the right. Everything starts with the person. I never thought in my life that we'd ever get to this point in this country where we have to worry. When Trump was running for president, I was afraid to put a Trump sticker on my car. Why? Because somebody would bash my window in.
Yeah, I had my Trump sign stolen off of my lawn.
But I would never do that to somebody who had Barack Obama. I never said a bad word about Barack Obama.
Right.
I didn't, did I like him as president? No. We were losing money. It was the shittiest economy we had.
4 houses down from me, there was a Biden sign.
Right.
My Trump sign, however.
Right.
And I saw the woman take it right on my ring doorbell.
Right. I mean, even like with Clinton, when they went after him for the sexual stuff, I thought that was wrong to impeach him. I think what he did was terrible, but, let the guy get out of friggin' the office, so the Republicans were bad on that deal. But, what they did with Trump, they assassinated Trump. The media, the government, and that's not right.
Bloodless assassination is what we call it.
Bloodless assassination. Yeah. So my point, let's just round this up. So, a couple things here. Let's just recap on our whiteboard, because I want to go here. And there's a picture of us here. You can see our studio there. Hey. So, the Atlantic. People, I go see this article. It's bubbling right now. People are writing articles, to discuss it. It says let's declare a pandemic amnesty. Yeah. And what I tell people, no. I don't want revenge. I want what we call justice. I want investigations.
That's like throwing your hands up in the air and saying, "Okay, guys, game over."
No.
Game over.
We need investigations, and I can tell you right now.
Let's start fresh.
I want investigations that are bipartisan, by the ball. Now, the next thing is the town school boards. Okay, and I think that anybody who's a school board member, who falls on the sword and says, "I have no say in the matter," it's coming from the state of New Jersey or the state of Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Saying, "I can't do anything. This is what it is." And I know it's a tough thing, because that's what's happening. I hear that all the time.
And the parents that were speaking up against the school boards were called what?
Yeah,
domestic
terrorists.
Right. Yeah.
But the thing is that vote these people out. Vote these people out.
Get them out, guys.
Because this is coming. And if you vote for these people, the people who get in have a mandate. They're going to say, "Well, they voted for me."
Yeah, you're not just voting for a person. You're voting for a way of life.
Right.
You're voting for our America to be something to be proud about again.
And you know what I get? I get I'm not voting. It's all no, vote. When you say you never know, you gotta vote, because if you don't vote, then it's definitely we're gonna lose. Yeah. You got, and I can tell you right now, in Virginia, the mama bears went after this. You people out there, you're Democrats, you're Republicans, you're independent. They're going to take your kids and they're going to teach them what they want to teach. It's whatever it is now, sex. Later, it's going to be something else. I mean, you have to be involved in that. And I think that's terrible. Now, the other thing here is our students in colleges and the universities and what's put out there. All right. And what do you say? What do you do about that? Well, you know what? I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to address that. Do you defund the colleges?
Clearly, these students that have made their way to college have never learned that condemning somebody to death for speech is wrong.
Well, here's what Trump did when he was in. He said to the colleges, if you don't let diversity, it's not the word, if you don't let people come in here and speak, we're pulling the money.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, but that stopped after Biden. So you could
that changes
so
everything.
you could
then.
shut down, right? You could shut down anybody, and it gets violent. So we have to stop this. So again, going back and forth. But that study was very, very scary. And that's why I'm saying to you, Jeremy, when you talk about, these politicians, they're pushing communist, Hillary and Biden and, whoever else. It's the people, too. A lot of people in this country want open borders. They think it's, and I say, listen, I want people to immigrate here, but I want it legal, not illegal. They don't care. They want everybody in here. And I think it's morally right. And that's going to put a hard thing on a system. So we're not against immigration. We're just against illegal. It should be legal. It should be monitored. And you can't have 1 million people, 3-4 million people at one time. It's going to blow up the system. All right. Same thing with right now inflation. It's nothing new. I'm not a smart guy. It happened in the Carter years. When you spend so much money, what happens? The government spends so much money, you get inflation. It's easy. The other stupid thing that we did is we were energy efficient. I know. Listen, I want clean air, clean water. I know the air is everything's getting warm. I know we have global warming. I'm not denying it, but I can tell you right now, I don't want to go back to friggin' burning wood in my stove because we're freezing and eating friggin' squirrels from the backyard. Yep. So, you're okay, I'm over-exaggerating. Wait till you see what happens in Europe this winter. We have the resources here.
We don't even have to wait. You can go to places like Sri Lanka who have gone all green and see what it's like there now.
Right.
There are places in the world now that have gone all green, and you can see the problems that they're dealing with, like power outages every 5 freaking minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it is terrible. It's a great thought, and I hope that one day we can get there where it works.
Yeah.
But we're not there yet.
No. So I think
that is what I would refer to as biting off more than you can chew.
Right.
Yeah.
So inflation, immigration, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shortages of all kinds of stuff. Gasoline prices are so high. So so Biden gets up there and basically, I don't know, says this is the threat to democracy. He didn't say anything about the border, which is in crisis.
I liked part of that sentence. He didn't say anything.
No, yeah, nothing about inflation. Nothing about inflation. Nothing about gas.
He doesn't have a stance on anything.
Nothing about the stock market, tanking. And you know how many people? How many? I don't know how many trillions. How much people lost in their pensions in this country. Yeah. And you know what the funny thing is, Jeremy?
And do you think those people give a shit about election deniers or anything? No. They got real world problems to deal with.
I could give two shits.
Instead of a president who's playing a sore winner. I mean, give me a break, man.
Right.
You're 2 years in. Give it up.
Listen, I can tell you right now is that
your whole presidency was a broken record.
But this thing where we're going right now, I think you're going to have an election, and I'll leave it. We're going to stop at this, okay? I think you're going to have an election that's going to be very important. And the reason why I'm going to say it's important, I know everybody says, this is the most important election coming up. I don't know if it's the most important, but what this election is going to do, Jeremy?
For us, it's very important.
Right. What this election is going to do, okay, is you're going to have Hillary Clinton probably going against Trump, okay? That's what I'm thinking. Mm-hmm. Trump's going to stand for the Constitutional Republic. He's going to stand for constitutional law. He was the most constitutional president when he was president. You could go read John Yu's book on the Defender-in-Chief. Yeah. You're going to have the Supreme Court. They're going to try to go after the swamp. That's on the executive branch, and try to wean down. The military, the CIA, the FBI, all of that, which I think is out of control. And the Congress gave them a lot of leeway. So anyway, you're going to have that to pick from, not going back where, you had to sit in the back of the bus, but where everybody has equal opportunity, equality of opportunity. And we're going to judge everybody on your character, okay? And not on your color or any gender, but on your character, which Martin Luther King talked about. The other side you're going to have is Hillary. She's going to run on a platform of basically social, social democracy towards communism. And it's going to be get rid of the filibuster, which is where you have to have a majority in the Senate, fill the court with 30 Supreme Court justices. That'll derail the balance of power. Okay? Start, doing crazy stuff. Get rid of the guns. Start getting rid of free speech, just like this. Hate speech, you say anything, you get locked up. You go to jail. First of all, they won't kill you. They'll put you in jail. Or they'll take your shit away. Or they'll take your bank account. Or they'll fine you, they'll fine you $1,000 and go right into your bank account.
It's not going to go straight to death,
and
but
it'll lead up and they'll take the money.
It'll make sure that you're living a lot less comfortable.
Well, Nazi Germany, they just didn't one day say, we're going to exterminate the Jews and kill them. They said, well, you got to wear an armband. And then you can't have a store. Or you can't do this. Or you can't do that. It slowly metastasized into where, and it was a medical procedure, by the way.
That's
you got to understand, that was a medical, they had the Department of Euthanasia. In Hitler's day. And it was when you came into a concentration camp, there was a bunch of doctors and nurses. It was a medical procedure. That was a medical procedure. They had that to off you. They were knocking off old people, kids crippled. There's some really good movies. I was just watching one the other day where, who was the actor? I can't think of it right now, but they were in Nazi Germany, and this was before, the war. And he was a correspondent. He was sending information out. And they had the little girl there in the jail cell, and they were going to execute her because, she had a bum leg. So that's what you're going to have. So you pick that, and I think that's a good thing because now the American people are going to have a decision. My question to you, Jeremy, is say there's no cheating, no nothing, everything's straight and narrow, okay? Now, hopefully that'll be it. Who do you think's going to win? What's the majority of people in this country want?
Trump.
I hope so. Yeah. Well, not Trump, but do they want a constitutional republic, or do they want
a government change?
Or do they want a social communist kind of flavor? Do they want a China model? No. And that's what we're going to get. Yeah. They're going to get some. Freedom of speech is going to be throttled down. Freedom of religion throttled down. They got to get rid of the guns because you can't have. They won't be able to have power. And so freedom of religion is gone, freedom of speech is gone, freedom of fare is gone. What they're going to do is she's going to promise you free stuff. A bowl of slop. You're going to get a house, you're going to get 3 square meals, and a place to live.
And the place to live ain't going to be like where you're living now.
So that's a combination between being in jail or being a slave. Yeah. And that's what they're, so anyway. Hey, I know you want to go, so you're burning out here.
I'm burning out, man.
All right. Anything else?
No, this is a good one.
Yeah, so listen. Yeah. Well, hopefully you don't get thrown off. So, Jeremy, this might be we may be executed.
This might be it.
This might be it because we just exercised our free speech, and we may be getting an electric chair. If we have it, we'll videotape it.
Oh, if we can, if we can.
Jeremy and I will be holding hands before they fry us.
Sure.
So Jersey Shore Foot and Leg Center .com. Dr. Kachmar, iCloud.com. Please go on YouTube, subscribe to us, watch us on Rumble, watch us on Facebook. If we do get taken off YouTube, you can always find us on Rumble.
Right. Our back door.
Yeah, our back door. Yeah. And or you see us on the corner with a megaphone.
Back door to freedom.
Freedom. And we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and also Twitter. Twitter. We're on Twitter.
Remember, guys, be kind.
Yes.
Be tolerant.
Yes.
And let's make a change and vote.
Yes, and no violence. No violence. No violence.
No violence at all.
All right, everyone. Jeremy, you gotta